Basically, we're going to have two people giving you a pitch today. Every person gets 6 minutes to tell us what they're all about. We're really militant about our 6 minutes. The moment the presenter hits the 6-minute mark, we're going to start clapping and cut them off. After the 6 minutes, they get their 15-minute Q&A session. That is your opportunity not only to ask questions, but also to provide some really good feedback about how they can improve their presentation moving forward. So 1 million cup sessions happen all around the country. Dallas is a really good session. We have a lot of people that come to our sessions every week, but 1 million cups has expanded most recently to Frisco, Texas. They're also found in Fort Worth and Houston, San Antonio. This whole idea is just blowing up. It actually started back in 2012 in Kansas City. The Kauffman Foundation is based out of Kansas City. They decided that they weren't doing a really good job of connecting with the entrepreneur community, but they also noticed that there wasn't really a stage out there for entrepreneurs to really get their idea out and talk about what they were doing. So they started the first session. Soon it became 2 sessions, and now, here in 2017, we are well over 100 sessions nationwide, all meeting on Wednesday morning, all with similarly situated entrepreneurs. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started here. The way it works is we're going to bring up our first presenter, and then I'm going to have, we're going to give you a few announcements. We're going to talk about the sponsors that make all of this possible, and then we'll bring up our second presenter. So our first presenter is Chris with Military LLC. What he does is he basically helps veteran homelessness through employment and life skills by integrating federal veteran service organizations and other sorts of things of that nature. We're really a company that we're really excited about, and what's really interesting about this entrepreneur is he's going to be talking a lot from personal experience. So with that, please stand and give Chris a round of applause.
Thank you, and good morning. So, I'm Chris Durham, and I'm the founder of Military LLC out in Fort Worth. I'm native of Fort Worth, and I want to pose a problem to you today. So, in the United States, we have 40,000 veterans that are homeless every day, and 13,000 of which are unsheltered, or basically sleeping on the streets, if you will. I do know from personal experience, I've been a homeless veteran, and let me tell you a little bit about my background. So, I actually am a U.S. Army veteran of 24 years. I have a background in political science, applied mathematics, history, and I went active duty as an infantry officer, infantry platoon leader, greatest job in the world. Then I became a pilot, a space operations officer, and my commanders thought I was good enough. Actually, they recommended me to be an astronaut, believe it or not, Army astronaut. And my evaluation reports, and I actually met a few well-wishers along the way. This is Alan Bean from Apollo 12. He had one of those prodigious memories, and he saved the Apollo 12 mission on launch when he flipped a switch from SEC to aux, prevented it from blowing up. And I found myself, though, in a position where I got a new education, and that was from family court, or divorce court. And actually, just real quick, the biggest indicators of poverty, 2 of them the research shows, are divorce court and high medical bills. So I found myself to be the proverbial homeless veteran, and I tried to get services. I could not find them. There's tens of thousands of veteran service organizations, but I couldn't find the help that I needed. So January this year, I decided to change a few things, right? Take this cardboard sign, we'll put it in a recycle bin, we'll take all this gear, I'll just save it for camping and whatnot. And this old jacket here, right, this is from 2 uniform iterations ago. I'm just that old, right? All right, and I'm not used to juggling 2 different things, costume, so actually not a costume, but actually. Really do got my system. And so I went from homeless vet to exec. I saved up enough money this year. I went to MIT Sloan School of Management. I got certifications in management innovation technology. I was one of 2 people from the United States to be selected for that. I was very honored to do that. And I decided to really look at this problem. Some people want to say, hey, it can't be done. It can be. There's 50 communities in the United States that have solved this problem. In Texas, we have Austin, San Antonio, and Houston that have done that. And also 3 states. We have Virginia, Connecticut, and Delaware. Now that's effective 0 for veteran homelessness, meaning there's enough shelters or enough housing to take care of the veterans if they choose to do so. So I founded Military LLC. Again, I started working about January of this year. And the main mission is to end veteran homelessness on a global scale. So through providing direct services and indirect services. The direct services will be, and we're still in the ideation phase, employment services, life skills training that goes along with that, business incubation, and housing. Also want to provide some services to veteran service organizations. We'll talk about that. So the employment agency, what I'd like to do is, of course, not charge the veterans, but charge the different companies for that. I'm still going through the numbers for that. We do have Texas Veterans Commission that works with veterans, but each of their agents do about 2 placements a month, so that's not quite acceptable. We're going to do project about 30 a month per employment agent. For the housing solutions, the tiny homes are a huge thing. Okay, everybody's, oh, can I build a tiny home and let me help? And they're about $6,000 in material costs, and so having volunteers is a real boon to that. Of course, it's CapEx restricted, but we're going to look at multi-unit buildings and then also shelters. Okay. The transition skills, let's kind of go along with the employment agency. And so what I want to do is be uniquely positioned, right, as any entrepreneur likes to do, and that is to maintain a permanent relationship with that veteran. So if there is some kind of an issue with integrating back into civilian life, then the veteran can come back and utilize our services, right? So if you think about in basic training, we take civilians, turn them into soldiers over a 10-week period. We don't have a 10-week period for that transition back to civilian life, and it takes a little time sometimes. Look at some job skills training as well, and what I'd like to do is like a makerspace kind of a thing, and there's different funding and grants for that, woodworking, welding, and whatnot. People that are my age, I won't say what my age is, but good Lord, women. So, so back in high school, the people that didn't want to do the college classes did the welding and whatnot, and that was a total waste. So there's actually a big need for that. So the business incubation, I'm looking down the east side of Fort Worth to keep it a little more centered in the Metroplex and have like a one-stop shop where we can have different veteran services there, the tiny home village, and all that sort of thing. One of the big things I learned at MIT was the blockchain technology. We're at a technology inversion point with that. And so I want to utilize that to provide information and a database about veterans and how to get veterans from point A to point B. Okay, so thank you very much for having me today, and I look forward to hearing your questions.
The question we always ask is, what can we as a community do to help you?
So the main thing I'm doing right now is software development, so that's anybody that has an expertise in that and helping me set that up. That's my focus and priority right now, because I feel like time is of the essence. I don't know of any other company that's doing blockchain specifically to help veterans.
All right, thank you. All right, for those that have questions, we'll ask you just tell briefly who you are and who you're with or what you do, or just a quick introduction, and then have it with your question.
Jeannie Barson, and I'm with Gifty Brands, which is a nonprofit that we're just starting. And is yours a profit or nonprofit business?
Okay, so I apologize, I was looking at the 15-second sign there, but yeah, Military LLC is for-profit. I do have Military Inc. I'm setting up as a nonprofit. I'm still looking for people for that. I just got an accountant on the board yesterday. So the nonprofit will be more like for caseworkers to help the veterans get from point A to point B, and also to serve as a platform to link veterans and veteran service organizations.
Next question. or any feedback on the presentation.
Hi, my name is Plachette Carbuchet, and I'm a financial planner for entrepreneurs. And for Chris, I had a question. Are you specifically just targeting Fort Worth veterans, or is it all over the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex?
That's a great question. So I'm looking right now to do Fort Worth. I want to try to make it right as small as possible so that I can, do the proof of concept and then expand from there to the greater Dallas-Fort Worth area. But the goal, right, is Fort Worth and then Dallas-Fort Worth. From there, then the question is, okay, is it geographic because rural is different from urban as far as the issues with homelessness, or do I just hit the major cities? So I haven't quite decided on that just yet.
Hi, I'm Sagar from the University of Texas at Dallas student and a startup owner. So just my question was, like, would you just be focusing on the employment part, or would you also be focusing on the development of veterans who actually want to go towards the entrepreneurial sector?
Right. So the blockchain is first to do indirect services because I feel like make a greater impact. For the direct, it will be employment. I do have a tentative agreement right now with Tech Fort Worth for business incubation, and so I can get veterans in there to help start the businesses that are technology focused. But I would love to expand that. So, I mean, the idea is to have like a veteran super center, nice place like this, warehouse size, and we can focus on all sorts of veterans. But my focus, I really would like to help technology specifically and bring veterans to the Dallas-Fort Worth area that are focused on that. So maybe, for example, a veteran that's a recent graduate in engineering from Texas A&M or UT, and try to bring them here to work on the companies.
Great presentation. My name is John Mottram. I'm a CPA. I'd like to know, how many veterans do you currently kind of serve, and where are they on the timeline from homelessness to fully where you want them to be?
Great. So I don't serve them directly, but I get out as much as possible. I work with we have a homeless district, which I really hate the concept, right? It's over in the Lancaster area on the east side. And Presbyterian Night Shelter is the big one. They have the Independence House, Liberty House, Patriot House, and Veterans Voice. So there's probably about 120 or so. So I get out there as much as possible, just trying to learn their pain points. A lot of it is maybe internal to sit on that. I'm still forming that up. But right now my focus is on the for-profit, and I know it's not the greatest solution. I think one of the biggest indicators of success for entrepreneurs is to have a team and not really be the solopreneur, but that's just what it is right now. And I am looking for advisory board members for basically each of the areas. So I do have
our sponsors. One of our primary sponsors here is Big Frog. So Big Frog does custom t-shirts, and they do a lot more than that. The really cool thing about them is that they have no setup fees and they have no minimum. So if you've ever had to have t-shirts made or any other kind of printing, seek out Mark over there in the green shirt. They just had their grand opening 1 week ago, so let's give a round of applause to Mark. We'd also like to thank Mercedes in the very back there. Mercedes with i3 Mega Marketing Group. She provides solutions for small businesses and entrepreneurs, so check out her website. It's i3megamarketinggroup.com. Finally, we'd also like to thank Kurtu over here, providing great treats. And then Dev Mountain is the one who provided the coffee. Dev Mountain is basically a coding academy. They're located in downtown Dallas. If you're interested in coding, definitely check out their campus. It's really cool. I was there just a few weeks ago.
Arternic. Have you ever been to an event where a lot of people hit on you, try to sell you something, or just all around annoying? No, this is not hell, but you may be at a networking event. For many of us, networking events are a chore, something that we don't necessarily love, but we feel like we have to be a part of. And it's not just the events, it's really networking as a whole. I really think that this is a very broken concept. It really is broken in 3 ways. The first is time. There's really not enough time in the day for you to go to every single event. And even if you somehow could, well, you're probably not going to meet the right person. That's because you have to bring up the right topic with that person at the right way so that they get it and feel like, okay, maybe I can help you. And really what this leads to is opportunities generally end up going to people who look like a certain way and go to a certain school. And we really wanted to set out to change this. And we think we're well on our way to doing so. Now how we do that is we ask people, essentially, what are you looking for? What's your problem? What can you do better than everyone else? And essentially, how can you help? And what we do is we take that, we try to make sure that both our community and you would be a good fit. It's all about giving and gaining. And then we work on connecting you to that person so that you really have access to those resources that you need to succeed. Now, we think this is a really great time to tackle this because professional networks, even though social media is huge right now, only represent about 4.2% of the space. And this is only going to grow as an industry about 30% through 2021. And so we really want to tackle this, particularly because our target demographic is 18 to 29-year-olds. And as more of this digital generation comes online, we really want there to be professional tools for them to succeed, not just a way for them to connect with their friends or share photos. Now, how does our process work? So as I mentioned, we are a curated community. Once you're in and approved, we have a mobile app that will be ready in October. And the first message you'll see is from our assistant, Sparrow. Sparrow asks, what are you looking for? How can I help? We then take that information and we search our network, whether that's a resource, is it a person, or it's just an article, something that you need to keep moving forward in your career. We then make that connection, and then we follow up with you a little bit later to make sure that that was the right fit. The reason we do this is because right now this process is largely manual, but the goal is that as we scale up, we can automate it through AI, but the key with AI is training it correctly. So the only way we're going to do this is unfortunately to fall on our face a few times and learn from that. Now, who is the elephant in the room? It's definitely LinkedIn. It was purchased last year by Microsoft for $26.1 billion, and essentially a lot of people wrote off the space. But for us, really, the problem with LinkedIn is LinkedIn expects you to do all this work. You have to go and browse and say, okay, maybe I'll find John, or maybe I'll get Emmanuel or Devin to respond to my friend request. But essentially, really, all it is turned into is a digital resume, particularly for younger people. And so for us, we want to do that work for you. We really want to be that friend in your life that you call up and say, look, I need help with this. It's not something that we're there all the time. We're not trying to make this super addictive. It's really something that it's an as you need it. Whether that's I need help or I'm looking to give back, we want you to come to us. Now, we also do really want to change this because when people think LinkedIn, they traditionally think traditional white-collar business professionals. But from hosting events in the community, I've seen the power of getting teachers, nonprofits, artists all on board and collaborating with ideas, because whether it's a teacher who's trying to find more reasons in the classroom, or even entrepreneurs like many of you are here now, having that idea and sharing it with people from a different background will really allow you to come up with a much better solution and really tap into this idea of the wisdom of the crowd. Now, our roadmap is, as I mentioned, we're planning to launch our iOS version in October. Our Android version will probably follow soon after. But they want to really make events a lot more seamless process, both their own events, but also really high quality community events, and curate that. Not really just a summary, but really here's where you should be and here's why. And then finally, hopefully by the end of 2018, crack the big egg, which is careers. We think that a lot of people fall into a career, but they're never really presented with an opportunity of this is the best for you. We really want to make this process a lot seamless. Now, the geographic areas, that relates really with marketing spend. We really want this to be a very DFW-focused community. But having lived all over the world and throughout the US, I do have networks elsewhere, but we don't want to stretch ourselves too thin. So this is, I would say, and largely related to where we're going to put those resources. Now, what is our business model? So we want to charge $19 a month, and this number came from talking to talking to users and kind of doing research internally because we feel like we can deliver 4 to 5 times this value. What this allows us to do is our product to really stand on ourselves. We don't want our users to be our product, we really want us to really do this work. So we no more ads, no more selling data, and really trying to create something that actually adds value to people's lives. But really, why does this matter? Well, leading up to 1963, people really thought, anything is possible. We're going to go to the moon, we're going to change the world. But then, when JFK was shot, since then it's really kind of been this long start to mediocrity. And really think that this is the time to do something different, particularly here in Dallas with that happening, right up the street. Why not do something different? We want to make it so that anyone, no matter where they come from or what they look like, has the opportunity to succeed. And it's not really something that is my turn to do or your turn to do. It's really our turn to do. So I hope you will join us in helping to make this dream a reality. Thank you. Yeah, so the two big things is definitely, my biggest problem right now is I do a lot of one-to-one meetings with just individuals trying to do research, but really trying to scale that up. So we've had some organizational meetings, but I'd love to know people who are kind of connected or the media so we can really get this message out there and build this community a lot quicker. The second is, as with many entrepreneurs, definitely love to talk to investors. So that's the two biggest.
Makes sense. All right. Who's question?
Great presentation, but how are you going to scale this with so many different careers? So, everyone's got something different going on. How many people do you have on your team right now, and how do you see that scaling?
Yeah, so I'm the full-time person. I have kind of two, a developer and then a marketer helping me part-time. I think the big thing is, as I mentioned, is AI. So that's really how this scales up. If we have just a human-to-human connection, I completely agree it won't scale. But the problem I think most people make with AI is you don't have a really solid data set to train it on. So you just assume, okay, well, I think this works. And then you're seeing a lot of articles now about the bias in Silicon Valley, but largely white men or even Asian American men. And I think that comes from there's not really a diverse sort of input that's built into that. So for us, we really want to reach that point of, okay, we really just can't do this manually anymore. And then now have this diverse data set, but also have a diverse kind of team and group of advisors say, okay, is this actually working? So that we build an AI automated system that works for everyone.
All right, next question.
So you have built this AI, or you are building?
We are building it. So we're kind of thinking through that process now, gathering that data. But the big thing though is like, so training AI, so you tell it sort of this is what's good, this is what's bad. You can't really do that without data, and you can't do the data without essentially manually matching and getting feedback from people. Okay, this is who I'm trying to connect with. Or particularly with what's called natural language processing, that, okay, you may mean this, but it's actually probably this. And that's really what takes time.
So are you still on target to launch in October?
Yeah, so our October launch is pretty much set. It's probably going to be October, whatever the second Tuesday is in October. But yeah, that's good.
So your AI, are you in like the testing phase?
Yeah, so we're in like a closed beta right now. So we have about 50 users, and then we probably talk to 200 or 300 different people. But the goal is to do kind of a soft launch pretty soon, and then really hard launch and really start kind of some of this marketing spin in October. And oh yeah, and one more thing with that. So we are also working with like DISD. We're working with Digital Crisco Ray, the charter school called KIP Destiny, Black Chamber of Commerce, Asian Chamber of Commerce, like a lot of these organizations that are really ready for something like this, because we are not kind of the people who are boots on the ground, kind of similar to Military LLC. Really what we want to do is we want to be the technology that binds all this stuff together. There's many people who are amazing at what they do. They just can't get the resources. I was meeting with someone last night who works with low-income kids in South Dallas. He's like, if you can bring me the water, I can grow the crops. And there's a lot of people like that. It's just trying to connect almost the people who have experience or the people who have resources with those that don't but have the skills and make really the magic happen.
All right, next question.
So first, I applaud you for being in this space. Most of the professional networking sites are very much aimed at white-collar, upper-income professionals. I'm a little concerned about the pricing model, and I wanted to know if you've considered tiering or kind of a free way to get in for people like the people you just spoke of.
Yeah, so that's something that we're definitely trying to work on. So what we tried to do is that, yes, it's going to be cost prohibitive for some people, but it's to try to have some sort of baseline. And then as we grow, have some sort of free tier. I think the problem with free tiers is you start running into, well, then people can just sign up in mass, and it's a little bit harder to restrict it. But we're also looking with trying to find, scholarships or something with organizations, or having, with a school, having 1 or 2 access points for that school, but then they can facilitate the resources with that. But it's certainly too, that is probably as well another potential resource or opportunity, is thinking through some ways to make that work so this is sustainable. I just don't think free works forever, because again, you have to start selling data and selling ads, and then we all become the product, not the product.
Is you need to come up with, why do I need this product? And how are you going to market to that? Because to be able to get $19 a month is a big deal. And have you thought about that? Do you have, a presentation on what that would look like? What, how are you gonna put that on your website, et cetera?
Yeah, so the website certainly needs work, and really, I think that's what it's come down to, is having longer conversations with people to really drive that. As a white guy in the US, like, this is not as big of a problem, but I think I appreciate how it can be, and so it's really trying to make this difference so that, okay, if we can look past certain things, we really can say, hey, I need this resource, and so you can keep doing kind of the good work you already do with your nonprofit, and just say, okay, here are the things that I need help with, and bring that resource to you. It's trying to show that this is the time savings. And I think that really showing that is just going to be case studies and examples, which will be hard at first. But we're already having people in process that we're working with, so that we're getting a teacher that wants more community resources that can't find that, bringing them in to sort of, whether it's business people or even students to work with their kids. We're having businesses, entrepreneurs who are saying, look, I really want to talk to investors, but I never have a time for the resources that we talk with them, facilitating that, because we meet with the investors who say, I can't find good startups here, and facilitating that. So it really just kind of comes with really small baby steps. This is definitely not going to be oh my gosh, overnight success with content marketing. It's going to be something that's grinding it out, but hopefully that we grind it out enough time that we can eventually answer your question of really what is that key value prop, and have all these examples behind it.
What do you get for that $19? One time, search on something, or?
No, so it's like an unlimited, it's unlimited access. So another thing that I also forgot to mention is, so we're also having a nonprofit, so it's going to start with 10% of that every month, and it's going to grow up as we scale. So the eventual goal is to try to invest more in education, because really we think that's the future. And so with that, it's giving, putting more resources into lower income schools.
You don't actually sell any of the information, and that you actually also don't have any ads, because I know, like she was mentioning, there's a lot of freemium out there, but it's a lot of ads, and you don't know really what they're doing with your information on the back end. So that's something you could say that you provide value.
Okay. All right. Final question. Sounds like a game show also.
Have you thought about like how you're going to kind of differentiate yourself from professional headhunters in the industry, and would it make sense for you to work with some of them to maybe help you scale, or find some people that add to your network?
Sure, so the question for anyone who didn't hear is, could we potentially work with professional headhunters or recruiters? And I would say the simple answer is certainly yes. That's actually too one of the issues that we found with LinkedIn, how it's set up, is that you're essentially just spraying and paying, hoping, okay, I'll find the right person. I need a Java developer, I need a JavaScript developer, I need this person who has 10 years in finance. You don't really take the time to get to know them, because it's not really set up to do that way. So I think, yes, we are certainly exploring that relationship. Another thing as well is working with HR departments and corporations. One of the big things is millennial retainment. And really what I found is that a lot of people switch because your company offers X, this next company offers X plus 10 or 15.